I sworn y'all picked a good night to camp on the old battleground. Perhaps a proper introduction is in order. My name is Robert Broadnax Glenn, and I am the duly elected governor of the powerful state of North Carolina, and you may consider me at your service. I expect you must be here for the monument dedication tomorrow, are you not? Well, I admire your moxie. I admire your patriotism. It is to be commended. For how many people would come all this way just to sleep on the naked ground and to dedicate a monument, the only monument, might I add, on this old battlefield, and a monument dedicated to the idea that no Tar Heel backs down easily. Now, I wonder, who among you might be constituents of mine? Are any of you North Carolinians? No? Well, don't worry, not all of us can be perfect. I am most pleased to make your acquaintance, and I will be most pleased to see you right in front of the grandstand tomorrow. There are certain advantages that come with being the chief executive of a grand state like North Carolina, and one of those is, from time to time, I get to peek underneath the velvet. Last night, I will have you know that I looked underneath the velvet, and you are about to see a first-rate monument to North Carolina standards. A monument that says that our men were the first at Big Bethel. They advanced the farthest at Gettysburg. Likewise, they advanced the farthest at Chickamauga. And wouldn't you know that they were the last to retire from the field of battle at Appomattox. Yes, it is going to be a fine monument, and we are having some good speakers too. Now, I've been known to hold my own, but I have to admit that none hold a candle to your governor, Governor Montague of Virginia, and he joins me in welcoming you to this place. Now, I know many of you were too young to be intimately acquainted with those things that occurred here on the 9th of April 40 years ago, back in 1865. But if you are not acquainted with those things, I'll tell you those things as I know them. I was just a boy when the war was fought, but I am told by the old veterans that General Lee's army was encamped, at least the vast portion of it, down here in this valley. And on the morning of April the 9th, General Lee sent 9,000 men of an advance force down this road as you see it, and up over that ridge they marched. There they encountered Federal cavalry and quickly made good work of them, scattered them about. Well, you would think that that meant that an open door was provided for General Lee, but it was not to be on that day. You see, the cavalry held out just long enough for 12,000 Yankee infantry reinforcements to come up in support. And those men do not run like the cavalry do. Now, I know what you must be turning around in your noggin right about now. You must be cogitating things and saying, oh, 12,000 Yankees against 9,000 Southerners. Oh, that ain't a fair fight, because the Yankees are going to need more men than that. And you'd be correct under normal circumstances. Under normal circumstances, they'd have to have our boys by a 2-to-1 advantage before they could even entertain the thought of whipping our boys on the field of battle. But you see, it was not so much a matter of numbers that was the significant difference between those two armies on that day. The matter was a question of supplies. Both armies, it is true, will march 100 miles in 6 days' time. Both armies were fairly well played out. But all along this little soiree, the Yankees got to eat, and our boys did not. And I don't care what kind of soldier you think you are. You march and fight 4 days, 5 days on an empty stomach. You get to that last day, and you ain't got much left in you, friend. And so when the enemy commenced their counterattack into our good North Carolina boys, I guess you could say that their resolve more or less dissolved, and their get up and go, why, it got up and went. And you know where the story ended, over in the home of Mr. McLean. There are those that would criticize my involvement in this noble endeavor. People have come to me and said, Mr. Glenn, you are mistaken in getting behind something like this. It is not right for a Southern man to glorify on the field of a mighty defeat of our forces. But to those friends of mine, I say that there's nothing shameful with a good North Carolina man putting on that gray suit of his and standing up to a man that he fancied to be an invader. And when we do back down, if and when that ever occurs, why, we would have to be the last to do so. It's just the way we Tar Heels are. We're called Tar Heels because if you have tar on your heels, well, you're liable to stand your ground, you see. Well, I suppose I've prattled on long enough. Tomorrow, we have a red letter day in our history. I hope that you will join me, and I hope to see you as I stand there on the grandstand. And now that I've turned these things over in my mind, it just occurred to me that I have not yet rehearsed my speech. And if I were to get up on that platform tomorrow and babble about like a common fool, well, election season's coming up, friends. I suppose my goose just may be cooked. So with that, I will wish you pleasant good evening, and I wish you a patriotic day tomorrow. I am your servant, Governor Glenn. Good day now.